You could have bought one for $37 at a hardware store in 1995. Today, that same rifle is clearing $1,500 at auction. Not mint condition, not matching numbers, just original. That price jump didn't happen by accident. The military surplus rifle market has quietly shifted from bargain hunting into serious collector territory. Guns that sat in dealer bins for years are now fighting words at estate sales. But here's the part most collectors still don't see. The rifles moving fastest aren't the famous ones. Not the Garand, not the German Mauser that gets mentioned in every gun documentary. The real appreciation is happening in the rifles people walked past for 30 years. Supply is the whole story. The generation that carried these rifles home from service is gone. Private collections are getting settled. Import numbers have dried up. And the window to find original, unmodified examples at reasonable prices is closing faster than most people realize. These 5 rifles are still out there, but not for long. Number 1. The Swiss K31 Straight Pull Bolt Action Rifle. Switzerland stayed neutral during World War II, but their military preparation during that conflict produced one of the finest bolt-action rifles ever manufactured. The K31 was adopted by the Swiss military in 1931 and remained in service until the 1950s. What makes this rifle special isn't just its mechanical precision, but the Swiss approach to manufacturing that treated every rifle like a precision instrument. The straight-pull bolt design sets the K31 apart from traditional turn-bolt rifles used by most militaries. Instead of lifting the bolt handle up and pulling back, the K31 bolt operates with a simple straight-pull motion. This allows much faster cycling between shots while maintaining the accuracy that Swiss engineers demanded. The action is so smooth that many collectors describe it as feeling like a precision watch mechanism. What makes the K31 legendary among collectors is the hidden piece of history under the steel butt plate. Many K31s still contain the original troop tag, a small slip of paper tucked under the metal plate listing the name, unit, and hometown of the specific Swiss soldier the rifle was issued to. The Swiss military maintained detailed records of every rifle, including which soldier it was issued to and when. This level of documentation is unprecedented in military surplus rifles and adds significant historical value for collectors. The K31 chambers the 7.5x55mm Swiss cartridge. A powerful and accurate round that Swiss military testing showed could achieve consistent accuracy beyond 600 meters with standard military ammunition. The rifle features a 6-round magazine that loads from the top with stripper clips, similar to other military rifles of the era. What's driving K31 values up is the combination of mechanical excellence and limited availability. Switzerland imported relatively few K31 rifles to the American market compared to other surplus rifles. Most imports occurred in the 1990s and early 2000s through specific import programs. Since then, the supply has dried up significantly. Collectors have begun recognizing that the K31 represents the pinnacle of bolt-action military rifle development. The Swiss took the basic Mauser action and refined it to a degree that no other military achieved. The fit and finish on even standard issue K31 rifles exceeds what other nations achieved on their premium sniper variants. Current market prices reflect this growing recognition. Clean K31 rifles that sold for $200 to $300 in the early 2000s now command $800 to $1,200 depending on condition and markings. Rifles with original Swiss military documentation or unusual unit markings can bring significantly more at collector auctions. The key to K31 values is originality. Swiss rifles that remain in original military configuration with matching numbers are becoming increasingly rare. Many K31 rifles were modified by American importers or subsequent owners for hunting use. These modifications, which seemed reasonable when the rifles were inexpensive surplus, now significantly impact collector value. Look for K31 rifles with original Swiss military acceptance stamps, matching serial numbers on major components, and original wooden stocks without modifications. Early Swiss rifles used beautiful walnut, but supply shortages during World War II forced a switch to beechwood, which develops a highly distinctive scaly patina over time. Rifles that retain their original military finish and haven't been refinished or modified will continue appreciating as more collectors discover the K31's unique place in military rifle history. Number 2. The French Mace 36 bolt-action rifle. France entered World War II with one of the most advanced military rifles of the conflict, yet the Mace 36 remains largely overlooked by American collectors who focus on German, Russian, and American rifles. This oversight represents a significant opportunity for collectors who understand the rifle's historical importance and mechanical innovation. The MS-36 was adopted by the French military in 1936 as their standard infantry rifle. The rifle featured several advanced design elements that wouldn't appear on other military rifles for years. The bolt handle is bent forward and positioned ahead of the trigger guard, allowing soldiers to operate the bolt without removing the rifle from their shoulder. This design provides faster follow-up shots compared to traditional bolt placement. The rifle chambers the 7.5 by 54 mm French cartridge, a powerful round that French military testing showed was effective beyond the range capabilities of most infantry weapons. The MS-36 feeds from a 5-round magazine loaded through the top with stripper clips. The entire action is designed for reliability in harsh conditions, with tight tolerances that prevent dirt and debris from interfering with function. French military records indicate that the MAS-36 performed exceptionally well in the challenging conditions of World War II. French forces used the rifle throughout the war in various theaters, from the initial German invasion through resistance operations and the liberation campaigns with Allied forces. After the war, the MS-36 continued serving with French forces in Indochina, Algeria, and other colonial conflicts. What makes the MAS-36 particularly interesting to collectors is the variety of markings and configurations that exist. Different French arsenals produce the rifle with subtle variations in manufacturing details and marking styles. Rifles manufactured during wartime show different characteristics than peacetime production. Post-war rifles intended for colonial service often feature different stock woods and finishes. The American collector market largely ignored MAS-36 rifles when they first appeared in surplus imports during the 1990s. Unlike German Mausers or Russian Mosins, the MAS-36 didn't benefit from popular culture recognition or extensive collector literature. Most American shooters found the forward bolt handle awkward and the French cartridge difficult to obtain. This collector indifference created an opportunity that smart buyers are now recognizing. Clean MAS-36 rifles sold for under $200 through the early 2000s. Today, those same rifles bring $400 to $700 depending on condition and markings. Examples with unusual markings or wartime production features command premium prices at specialized auctions. The factors driving MAS-36 appreciation extend beyond simple supply and demand. Military rifle collectors are becoming more sophisticated and recognizing rifles that were advanced for their era rather than just focusing on rifles from famous battles or popular movies. The MS-36's forward bolt handle and other design innovations represent genuine engineering advances that influenced post-war rifle development. Additionally, the French military's detailed record-keeping means that many MAS-36 rifles can be traced to specific units and campaigns. This historical documentation adds significant value for collectors who appreciate rifles with documented service history. French military archives contain extensive information about rifle production, Unit assignments and campaign service. Look for MAS-36 rifles with original French military markings, matching serial numbers and original stocks without modifications. The French use several different wood types for MAS-36 stocks, with walnut being the most desirable among collectors. Rifles with clear arsenal marks and unit stamps will continue appreciating as more collectors recognize the MS-36's significance in military rifle development. Number 3. The Yugoslav M48 Mauser. Yugoslavia's version of the German Mauser system represents one of the finest implementations of the famous Mauser action. Yet these rifles remained undervalued in the collector market while everyone focused on German originals. The M48 combines German engineering excellence with Yugoslav manufacturing quality and Cold War historical significance. The M48 was adopted by the Yugoslav People's Army in 1948 as their standard infantry rifle. While it visually resembles the German K98K, the M48 is actually built on an intermediate-length receiver based on the pre-war model 1924. This unique, slightly shorter action means parts don't interchange with German Mausers, making it a distinctly Yugoslavian masterpiece. Yugoslav engineers had access to German tooling, blueprints, and technical personnel after the war, allowing them to build what many consider the ultimate military Mauser. The rifle chambers the standard 8mm Mauser cartridge used by German forces during World War II. This cartridge choice was practical for Yugoslavia, which had large stocks of German ammunition and equipment captured during the war. The M48 feeds from a 5-round magazine loaded with stripper clips, following the standard Mauser system that had proven reliable in 2 world wars. What sets the M48 apart from other Mauser variants is the quality of manufacturing. Yugoslav arsenals took pride in producing rifles that exceeded the standards of wartime German production. The metalwork shows superior machining and finishing. The wooden stocks feature better wood selection and more careful fitting than late-war German rifles. Even the small details like sling swivels and cleaning rod attachments show superior attention to quality. Yugoslav military doctrine emphasized marksmanship training, and the M48 was designed to support accurate long-range shooting. The rifle features an adjustable rear sight graduated to 2,000 meters and a hooded front sight that protects the sight post from damage. The trigger mechanism was refined from the German design to provide a cleaner, more consistent pull weight. The M48 saw extensive service during Yugoslavia's complex Cold War period. The rifle equipped Yugoslav forces through various international tensions and internal conflicts. After Yugoslavia's breakup in the 1990s, M48 rifles served with various successor militaries through the Yugoslav wars. This extended service history provides multiple layers of historical significance for collectors. American imports of M48 rifles began in the 1990s as Yugoslav arsenals released surplus weapons for export. These rifles entered the American market at bargain prices, often selling for under $150. Most American buyers viewed them as generic Mauser variants, inferior to German originals and not worth collecting seriously. This market perception created the opportunity that collectors are now recognizing. The M48 represents the pinnacle of Mauser development, incorporating all the lessons learned from decades of military service. The build quality often exceeds that of wartime German rifles, while the Cold War service history adds a layer of significance that German rifles lack. Current market prices reflect this growing collector recognition. Clean M48 rifles that sold for $150 in the 1990s now bring $400 to $800 depending on condition. Rifles with original Yugoslav military markings and matching numbers command higher prices, while examples with interesting unit markings or service histories can bring over $1,000. The key to M48 values is understanding the marking system and production variations. Yugoslav arsenals used specific marking codes that indicate production facility, year of manufacture, and military acceptance. Rifles with clear, readable markings are more valuable than examples where the markings have been obscured by refinishing or corrosion. Additionally, the M48's relationship to German Mauser development makes it attractive to collectors who specialize in Mauser variants. As original German K98K rifles become increasingly expensive and difficult to find in good condition, collectors are discovering that the M48 offers superior build quality at a fraction of the price. Look for M48 rifles with original Yugoslav military finish, matching serial numbers on major components and clear arsenal markings. The original dark blue finish should show even wear patterns consistent with military service. Rifles that have been refinished or modified for civilian use will not appreciate at the same rate as original military configuration examples. Number 4. The Egyptian FN-49 rifle. Egypt's adoption of the Belgian FN-49 rifle represents one of the most interesting chapters in Cold War arms procurement, creating a rifle that combines Belgian engineering excellence with Middle Eastern military service history. The Egyptian FN-49 offers collectors a unique combination of advanced design features and significant historical importance. Belgium's Fabrique Nationale developed the FN-49 rifle in the aftermath of World War II as a modern military rifle incorporating lessons learned from the conflict. The rifle featured a semi-automatic action that provided faster follow-up shots than bolt-action rifles, while maintaining the accuracy and reliability that military forces required. The FN-49 was one of the first successful military rifles to bridge the gap between traditional bolt-action rifles and modern assault rifles. Egypt purchased FN-49 rifles in the early 1950s as part of a military modernization program aimed at creating a professional army capable of defending Egyptian interests in the volatile Middle East. The Egyptian contract specified rifles chambered in the 8mm Mauser cartridge, which Egypt had chosen as their standard military cartridge. This cartridge choice was practical, as Egypt had existing ammunition supplies and manufacturing capability for the 8mm round. The Egyptian FN-49 features a gas-operated semi-automatic action that cycles reliably with military ammunition. The rifle feeds from a 10-round magazine that loads from the top with stripper clips, similar to the bolt-action rifles that most armies were still using. This design allowed soldiers familiar with bolt-action rifles to adapt quickly to the FN-49's operation while gaining the advantage of semi-automatic fire. Egyptian military service of the FN-49 included the Suez Crisis of 1956, where Egyptian forces armed with these rifles faced British, French, and Israeli forces. The rifle's performance during this conflict demonstrated the advantages of semi-automatic infantry weapons over traditional bolt-action rifles. Egyptian troops could maintain higher rates of accurate fire, giving them tactical advantages in defensive positions. The FN-49's advanced features included an adjustable gas system that allowed soldiers to regulate the rifle's cycling based on ammunition type and environmental conditions. The rifle also featured a built-in grenade launcher capability, with special sights and a muzzle attachment for launching rifle grenades. These features made the FN-49 one of the most versatile infantry weapons of its era. Belgian manufacturing quality on the Egyptian FN-49 rifles was exceptional. Fabrique Nationale had a reputation for precision manufacturing that extended back to their pre-war sporting rifles. The Egyptian contract rifles show the same attention to detail in machining, finishing, and assembly that characterized FN's commercial products. The walnut stocks were carefully selected and fitted, with quality that exceeded most military rifles of the period. American imports of Egyptian FN-49 rifles occurred primarily in the 1990s and early 2000s through surplus channels. These rifles entered the American market with little fanfare, as most collectors were unfamiliar with the FN-49 design and Egyptian military history. Prices remained low, with clean examples selling for $300 to $500. The collector market for FN-49 rifles has transformed as more collectors recognize the rifle's historical significance and advanced design features. The FN-49 represents an important evolutionary step in military rifle development, incorporating features that would become standard on later military rifles. Number 5. The Chinese SKS Type 56 rifle. China's Type 56 SK is one of the most numerous yet undervalued military rifles in history. Developed by Soviet designer Sergei Simonov as a semi-automatic infantry rifle chambered in 7.62 by 39 millimeters, it bridged the gap between full-power battle rifles and modern assault rifles. In the 1950s, China received manufacturing rights through Soviet military assistance. Using Russian-supplied machinery, early Sino-Soviet milled components rivaled the original Russian SKS in durability, though later models introduced cost-cutting stamped parts. The Chinese Type 56 saw extensive service throughout the Cold War, equipping Chinese forces and supplying allied nations worldwide. In the 1980s and 1990s, American importers flooded the market with these surplus rifles, often selling them for under $100. Because of these incredibly low prices, most Americans viewed them as cheap utilitarian tools, heavily modifying stocks and shortening barrels, which destroyed the collectability of countless examples. Today,